You don't need to buy backlinks to boost your SEO profile, or you don't need to buy backlinks to get backlinks. Hi, I'm Jaryd Krause, host of the Buying Online Businesses podcast, and today I'm speaking with Bibi the Link Builder, who is the kooky founder of Bibibuzz, where her wild party of link slingers build juicy backlinks for her worldwide clientele. She is infamously known for action-packed link building advice, creative outreach training, and expired dad jokes. Now, in this podcast episode, Bibi and I had a lot of fun. We talked about the equation of quantity versus quality backlinks and the backlink building, and more so about should you go for one or should you go for the other, or would it be good for you to do a blend, and what feels right for you instead of just going by what most people suggest. What feels right for you as your business and as your business owner, and what sort of links do you want to build? Think about that from an ethical standpoint and what is the best way to go, the best strategy for you. It could be blended, it could be mostly quantity, it could be maybe a bunch of non-relevant links or non-contextual links. We also talk about why most sites get spammy backlinks, which we want to actually cover further and we want to actually know more about. So if somebody knows more about that, let us know. We also talk about how to know which pages to build links to from the pages you may already have, or how to create content using Ahrefs, content, finder, how to create content that will easily get you links for the content that you create. We also talk about how to do outreach that sets you up to win links and most often not need to pay for those backlinks, and so much more in between all of that. This is such a valuable episode. If you own an online business, chances are you're going to want to do some link building at some stage. You don't need to pay for it. This is the podcast episode for you. Before we dive in, a special note that this podcast episode is not the only way that I can help you for free. We help a lot of people save millions of dollars and make millions of dollars through buying online businesses. One of the tools that we use is our due diligence framework. You can get that for free at buyingonlinebusinesses.com/free resources. Check it out. Now let's dive in to the podcast. Bibi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm waving from Amsterdam.
And I'm on the other side over here in Australia. Now, I wanted to just dive straight in. I wanted to ask, so many people wanting to build backlinks to build their blogs. Where do most people go wrong when they set out to acquire backlinks? What are, let's say, the top sort of few things they get wrong?
Yeah, a couple of things. So I think one of the base things is to not spend some time and research the audience of the people that you want to get links from and the needs of those people. So a lot of times people focus on their own customers, right? But you want links from specific site owners, and then you have to think about what are they trying to do with their site? How are they engaging with their audience? How are they selling to their audience? And how can my piece of content or my linkable asset help with that? And the other thing is that often people don't look at the audience themselves, the audience of those link prospects, and because it could be slightly different than your customer audience. So I think that's definitely one thing. The second thing is to be obsessed with scaling. Yes, scaling is important because you want to systemize stuff, you want to work efficiently. But at some point, you're so focused on scaling that you lose sight of your conversion rate. And at some point, your conversion rate is going to be so low that scaling is no longer the most cheap way to do stuff, right? Because you have to email more and more and more, which means that you get flagged for spam, and then you have to have all these intense systems to get new email addresses, make sure your email deliverability is on point. If you notice that you get lost in the scaling and you lose sight of your why, then go back and try to fix your outreach that way. And a third thing was, I don't know, a third thing. I think that was pretty good already.
Yeah. So the second one being, when you start acquiring so many links and you want to scale it, sometimes you realize that there's a seesaw, that you don't need more links. You need to fix your conversion rate because you already got a lot more traffic coming from those links and the conversion rate's low. So focus on the conversion rate before you move back. And it's sort of that.
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean conversion. Sorry, I didn't mean conversion rate of your product sales. I meant conversion rate of winning the links. That's what I mean. So people, when they are obsessed with scaling, they at some point they're sending out hundreds thousands of emails per month to get a 0.001 conversion rate of links. That's what I meant. Sorry, not about the sales.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the quality versus quantity equation. Say somebody's going to come to you and they say they got a blog and they've got like a DR35 or something like that in a particular niche. They want to do some backlink building so they can increase their EAT, and they're going to get some brand ambassadors on with that actually write good content, and they've got a digital footprint in the niche. What's your take on the quality, like a few quality links versus quantity links? What's your take on that equation there?
All right. So I've never done a real test where I thought like, oh, let's get 1,000 shit links, what people consider shit links, and then get 3 really high quality links. I've never done a test with that, right? So I don't know if it ends up being the same. Right? Maybe from bad links, you just need more. I don't know. Although that could have some own problems in itself as well. But I would always look at your competition. And then, some people are overwhelmed by looking at the links, the backlink profiles of the competition. But if you whittle it down, if you remove all the bad links, they're only competing with like 10 links, 10 really relevant, natural placed links. You can't look at quantity without researching them as well for quality. If I see all the competitors ranking with 1,000 bad links, then it's my choice. Either I want to go for 1,000 bad links, or I try to be different and go for 5 or 10 quality.
Yeah, that's
links.
an interesting take. So say you do find some competitor with 1,000, and maybe 3 or 4 competitors with 1,000 bad links, and they have more of authority. Their sites have more of authority than you. Where would you go from there? Would you say, okay, clearly what they've done for success is getting a lot of crappy links, or would you just go, I know that through my experience with building links and quality links, high traffic, high DR, and all that from in other niches for other sites, I'm going to take that approach. How do you know what approach to juggle, and what's your most common go-to then?
Well, let's go back a little bit to a couple of things you said. So one is you said high authority sites. What do you mean with high authority? And the other thing was high DR. So why high DR, right? So what do you mean with high authority?
What I mean is they got like their domain authority is, say, 70 or something like that, and you want to get that site's authority up to that type of authority, or high DR, say 65, 70, something like that.
I'm not a metrics link builder.
Okay.
I don't give a about metrics. So DR, it's something for me to weed out through a giant list of prospects or whatever, right? It's something to give me a little bit of an indication, but it's really, really low on my list of establishing how strong the competition is.
Okay, and what is high on your list?
Yeah. Ranking for important keywords, their traffic flow, how much traffic tools are estimating that they're getting, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And definitely also an eyeball test as well to see, is this a site that I think is going to survive the next year, right? Or are they look so spammy or whatever. So I don't really care about high authority in the terms of DA or DR.
I like that you say eyeball test, because there's so many people doing link building based on those data metrics alone and not actually viewing what is the page that you're getting the link from, and to what page are we linking to, and what's the relevancy, what's the connection there, putting yourself in the viewer's shoes or seat of the site that you're linking from, and what would their experience be going from that page to, say, the page that you're trying to gain the link to? What would and how would that benefit them in terms of value? Is that what you mean by eyeballing?
No, I think because we were talking about the authority of a site. So what I meant with the eyeball test is like, do I like the site? Does it look like a neglected garden that nobody cares about, right? Or does it look like something that somebody really invested in and is building on? And it doesn't mean like it's ugly or beautiful, because that doesn't say anything, right? The slick design or whatever. But yeah, that's what I mean with eyeball test, because you were talking about the high authority of competitors and then figuring out how you want to build links. So if we let go of the whole authority thing, because it means something different for everybody, then if you look at competitors, it's your choice if you want to go the same route they're doing, or if you want to follow your own common sense or whatever. I would basically do a combination of both, because I wouldn't pin myself down to one link building strategy. I would start with one link building strategy, see how that works, right? Mm-hmm. And then build upon that. So if your competitors have a lot of bad or spammy links, then it's your choice whether you want to do that or not. I think both things can work.
Okay. I'm going to ask that question again. What's your take on a lot of links versus very relevant links and a few of them?
So I think you have to make a choice what aligns with you best. Your let's say you see a lot of bad links clearly doing a job right. So you then you have a choice. Am I going to go the same path or not? Either is fine with me, but it's a choice. So if you go for the links that seemingly look bad, it has to fit your personality, because there is some risk involved, right? But I don't think it's necessarily a bad or good choice. It just depends on how you want to live, basically. I saw this in an interview with a podcast from Authority Hackers.
Yeah.
And they were also talking about the ethics and morality of link building.
Yeah.
And I think it was Mark or Gail, and they said it really has to do with your own personality as well. You know, how you want to live your life. I don't feel good about building links from really spammy sites.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fit my personality. I like people, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's why I go for other types of links.
And so...
But I don't, yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I think people are sometimes too in one camp about these things, or I'm more pragmatic, I guess.
Well, it's like, as human beings, we would like things to be forever. Like, we've got one marketing strategy and we're like, let's just set it and forget it. That's what we kind of like. So we don't have to use our brains and come back to it again. And we also don't realize we can have a hybrid approach that can actually work really well together. For example, having one platform type of marketing working really well, and it may actually complement a different type of marketing. And that could be the same with backlinks as well. You know, depending on how search engines determine a valuable backlink profile at any one given time, what might be relevant, how they value a backlink profile in 2022 may be totally different in 2032. And that blend of very relevant links with a few links that are just sort of spammy, not so relevant links may actually be a good approach and hedging your bet. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think you have a really good point. So I would be very careful still, right? So, but a blended approach where you just try a couple of things out one after the other, see what the effect is. It's a really good way to find out what works for you, but also a good way to spread the risk in a way, just like you say, right? If I have some bigger brand clients, and one of the things that shocks me is that their in-house teams, for instance, they tell them, don't link out, you know? You cannot link out, even not no follow or whatever. You can't link out because that was bad. That was penalized by Google, la la la. And it's true. I think you got to be careful about making it such a black and white rule, because what happens, you're going to get all the links. You're going to get 75 links from your vendors every month or whatever or more, and you're not going to link out. Well, how does that look?
Yeah. And how does it look in the eyes as the algorithm changes in 10 years' time? And you have to go back and change all that, because the algorithm and the search engines are all ever evolving. And on a time, it was good to link out, you know, versus maybe a different story at a different time.
Yeah, but then people scaled it, and it threw up a big pattern, right? So that's exactly what you said before with the blended approach. I think that's really, really good, because everything that you overuse and scale up, at some point it's going to be a pattern and it's going to be copied by other people, and then it's dead. We marketers ruin everything.
We do. Is that marketers do? So I'm curious, now that we talk about a blended approach, if you took a site and I'm just thinking about what your take on this may be. If you took a site that had a lot of
Yeah.
not so quality links, a lot of spammy links, and it decided to go the route of, right, we're just going to remove a lot of those, and we're just going to go for
Mhm.
sites that have big juicy links with lots of traffic, and we'll call them high authority sites, and we're going to use that metric just so for ease of people listening, not making it technical.
Yeah.
And you've got, say, maybe 50 really good quality links, but no other links are like, everything's just so high quality, and you've got no sort of filler links, sort of semi-relevant, non-relevant, or spammy links. You've got to have none of that in between. Would you have the perception that Google will go, this doesn't look very natural, like it's too perfect? And
Um,
do you think that would be a thing to cause?
I don't know. It could be, but at the same time, if you're having all these really strong links, you're gonna pick up all these other spammy links as well. Anyway, without having to do anything,
Naturally, yeah.
because
Yeah.
because you're gonna naturally have all the block spots in the
Yeah.
world because they just, So I wouldn't worry too much about that because those links should be really relevant. I think, you know. At the same time, I don't know because I've never done a test with this, so I don't know how it is to get 50 a la Forbes links that have no relevancy and what happens then.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would just
it's funny how I want to come back to the Forbes links. Let's come back to that, but I just want to just highlight something for people listening. A lot of people that are buying website businesses, we do SEO due diligence on the link profile, the backlinks. And one of my students asked me maybe a month or so ago, does every single site have spammy backlinks? It's just a common thing.
true.
You just have to expect it. Like it just happens. So do you want to explain why that happens?
Yeah. So we used to every link prospect. We look at them, right? And we used to also look very closely to their backlink profile. We still do that, but you see so many spammy links that you can't judge a site on it. They're going to pick that up anyway. So I'm not I'm not an expert in spammy links, but what happens? I think I really don't know. I know that Black Hat people, they have some automated where they link to other sites around a specific topic, because all these blog spots things are very contextual, right? So
Yeah.
let's say your baker site and you're going to get all these baker blog spot things. I actually don't know how that works. I think they do it to somehow become relevant in a niche. What do you know?
I
'Cause
don't
haven't
actually
looked into
know,
that
and
too
I
close.
have, maybe there is negative SEO where people may purchase non-quality, spammy, toxic links to go to a competitor's domain. I feel
Maybe.
it's crazy to think that
know.
somebody would do that, but in other business aspects, I've seen people do those types of things. It's a very fear-based mentality, which is, I don't believe you should build anything based on fear, but I believe there's people out there that are in that area, and so that could be a reason. But it's not going to be like every single site has non-quality links, so I just don't know exactly where and why they all come from. So if somebody's listening does know, maybe we get you on the podcast and explain that. But now I want to bring it back to the
Yeah, it's super annoying. Oh,
no, you
sorry.
go.
Because I want Ahrefs to put a thing, like a standard thing in their backlink profile where you can just exclude all those. Now you have to do all these word filters to get them
Yeah.
out. But yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why it happens, but yeah, if somebody does know, let us know. Be great to get a good
Yeah.
explanation on it. But coming back to the Forbes links,
Yeah.
Forbes is like not particularly in any one niche. They've got so much content around so many things, and I just don't believe that Forbes links are always the best links to go for versus, and this is what I feel, versus say if you've got a site that's in the dog niche, getting a link from another site or another page that's in the dog niche, which is talking about a point that you mentioned in your article, and you gain that link from them that supports your article and lifts yours up. I feel like, and that link may be from a decent authority site that's pushing a lot of good link juice and traffic to that page. A lot of times that could be better, right? So I would love to hear what you have to say about that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. It does depend on the context of the
Yeah.
link. So Forbes ranks they have their own mini affiliate clusters within their domain called Forbes Advisor. And they rank for some stuff where you think like, what? Bra for saggy boobs? Hello.
It's weird,
And
isn't it? Under their
yeah,
brand.
so yeah, but then when you look at the page, you can see that it gets a lot of traffic. So and that they're ranking for relevant keywords. So I wouldn't have a problem getting a link from that page if it's relevant to my niche. I personally prefer a link from a real expert. So like you say, like the dog expert or something. But I think they would be both good if the link on Forbes comes from a page that's relevant and gets traffic, or it's from a really good guest post, that a lot of people are going to see. So I don't, but I do think that people see a Forbes link as a holy grail, and that's something they need to let go. Because I get leads in, for my service, and then they're like, I want Forbes links, and I was like, why? So explain to me why. It sucks that people just obsess with this link from this specific domain and then ignore all the small sites that are doing a great job, right? So
let's talk about that then. Say you get a lead that says, hey, I want 20 links from Forbes, or I want 5 links from Forbes, and this is my budget. And you say, hang on, why? What's your advice to them? And say they've got a site that's in sports bras, women's sports bras or something like that, and they're wanting links from Forbes. What's your advice to them in terms of link building?
Go find another link builder. That's my number one. Because I'm not that link builder, right? I don't know people at Forbes. I don't know how to get links. Well, I just don't want to do that. But I mean, I want to get links from Forbes, but I'm not that type of link builder. So finding somebody else that's a better fit for you. I'm not there to convince people of anything, so I usually just send them away in a very charming way, I hope. But the second, if they wanted to know why, if they want to have some education on it, I would say that it's gonna look weird if you just focus on a site just because it's that site or that person, and you ignore all the amazing experts out there where you can get, contextual links, really relevant links. And you could even develop that relationship further, right? So you become an expert as well, because it's just like normal how you deal with people. If you wanna achieve a certain goal, look at the people that you hang out with. So yeah, I'm not an Einstein about this. I'm just really common sense. So if a client doesn't get that, if a lead doesn't get that, then we're not speaking the same language.
Yeah. And so when you say I'm not that type of link builder, and I could have preconceived idea of what type of link builder you are, and that could be that you would like to get contextual links and help them build relationships through link building rather than just metrics and vanity.
Me.
Is that the type of link builder that you are, or would you add to that, or would you change that?
No, that's the kind of person I am, because I don't want to be tricksy, full of tricks and things, and I can't play chess. I can't think 2 steps ahead, so I just think, what's the most logical thing to do? I have a site around dog food, so I want to have links from dog nutrition experts or families or whatever,
And then once you know that you want those types of contextual links, what does your outreach look like? Do you go and just try and find 10 of the best, most contextual pieces of content? Sorry, let's go one step. I've got another question that comes before this one. I want to put it in logical order. A client comes to you and says, I've got some dog, I got a dog food business or a pet care business. Some business owners and website owners don't know. They know they need links, and they go, hey, I just need to get links to this site. They don't know which page to get it to, or why maybe a pillar page or a main category page or the home page might be better. I have a little bit of an understanding, but I'd like to hear from you. What type of pages, where should we be sending these links to before we go away and look for them? Like how do you tell people and help people choose what they get links
Target
Yeah.
pages. Yeah, so choose target
Yeah.
pages, right? So when a lead comes in, I have a full list of I think it's 24 questions, and then we go through what are your link building efforts so far? Who's your target audience? What are topics they want to know more about? What are topics they should know more about? What are services you think deserve more attention? What do you want to focus on for the next 2 months? Your keywords, all these things help determine the target pages, but usually clients have already determined their target pages. So sometimes I do it for them. What I usually look for then is that I do some keyword research. I see which keywords are relevant to the product or their audience, and where are opportunities where they can grow. So kind of like low-hanging fruits. So for instance, you look at page 1, they're not in the top 3, right? But they're in 4 or 5. What can we do to bump that up? And then I look at that topic or that product on your site. What's around it, right? So do you have an informational cluster around it, or a linkable asset, or something like that? And ideally, I always try to determine 1 or 2 commercial pages to focus on for the next 2 to 3 months. Informational pages around that, because I do like to go for unpaid links mostly. So I want to see what would make sense to link out to for somebody without getting money for it.
Yeah. So you mean like a link exchange?
No, like a guest post, for
Okay,
instance. Or a link insertion.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I also do is content ideation for linkable assets. Can I tell you a little bit about that if you
Yeah, of
want to
course.
know? Your audience wants, like, you know all about that, but you know your audience. So I think content is so important. I mean, of course you can get tons of links without having content, but at some point you gotta do it, because it's just gonna you gotta start building that, because it's gonna help you along the way to just vacuum up all those things.
Rank for all the keywords.
So for content
basically.
ideation,
Rank for all the keywords.
yes, it's all the keywords. Position 1, guaranteed. No. But one of the things that we do is very simple stats pieces. So usually the client writes those. And when you look at your audience, there are some trending topics, or there are things that sites always publish around for that specific audience. And if you look at journalists and publishers, they need to do their homework, right? So when they write about a topic, they need to have data. And I found that, yes, you can do your own data, but it does take a lot of time, or maybe I'm just really bad at it. But what you can also do is make a compilation of all the stats that are around floating on the internet. So just make an article, but it's kind of a dry piece that goes through all the stats. Then you put all the stats, the most important facts on the top of the article. And then if you have a pretty strong domain, you can just maybe build a couple links to it, but just let it sit there. And then journalists are going to do their research. And when they use a stat from that piece, they'll just link to it, because they don't have time. They have to do 10. So they're not going to see what the original source is. They're just going to use your piece. So we did a piece like that for a client around veganism. It picked up 250 links, right? So that's great. But it's over the year. So you have to update it every year. And the other thing is foundational pieces. So that's around if you have something that's relevant. Well, I'll just name an example. So we have a client that's part of their audience are honeymooners, people that are getting married. Of course, an engagement ring is really important in that. And then I found out that a lot of the gemstones that are used in engagement rings or other jewelry, there weren't really good foundational pieces on them. So Wikipedia pieces, right? But the fun thing about creating a foundational piece that's not on Wikipedia is that you can make it pretty juicy. So you can also talk about the benefits of gemstones, the meaning, the origins, all those things that are too controversial to include in Wikipedia. And when somebody's getting married or they want to give somebody a piece of jewelry, it's also about the origin and all that stuff, but it's more about the meaning, because it's a milestone, right? So with that client, we did all these foundational pieces around every gemstone that's on the planet. And then you might think like, oh, that's not really relevant, we're not selling gemstones, blah, blah, blah. However, one of the pieces got picked up by US magazine because they were writing about the engagement ring of Jennifer Lopez. and they were doing a piece because US Magazine also has Forbes affiliate clusters. Forbes-like affiliate clusters. So they were like, how can you buy the same ring as Jennifer Lopez on Amazon? And they were talking about a specific gemstone and its benefits. And then they quoted the clients about the benefits of the stone. I forgot what your question was, but I think it was about how to get links.
It was how to choose which pages and on your site to build links to. And
so if you don't have target pages, if you don't have target pages,
no, it was just like just an example of somebody that doesn't know what page they should be building. Like go, I just need some links on my site. But I think that's a great example of having a main page, a target page, and you can have different. The cool thing about that is if you build a lot of links to that, and you have different gemstones with different data points and information about it, you can also have supporting pieces of content for it. So you can have a whole content cluster based off that main target page, and you can have internal links from that main target page to other pieces of content where maybe US Magazine links to that target page for the initial information about one of the gemstones, but then they can go to that page and click onto another link on your own site where they get a full article around that gemstone, which just adds so much value to that link and the user to your site, which means the link's so much more valuable, right?
Yeah, so that's also a really important thing. Before everybody starts jumping on clusters and all that stuff, really start doing your internal linking from the beginning. Because I noticed with so many sites now, they've done a full content run like last year or something. So they added like 500, 700 pieces. And then they're, we got to do internal linking. Then they have to go back and fix it and just, and they give it to an intern and the intern then runs away. It's never seen.
So once you know, all right, cool, we got some target pages, let's build some links to this. Your outreach strategy, you don't want to have to pay for links. So what does it look like? Are you looking at sending hundreds of emails, thousands of emails, or are you on the boat where you go, let's find the most contextual, relevant piece of content on the web for those target keywords, and let's build a relationship with them rather than just going cold outreach to 1 million people? Or is it somewhere in between? Is there a blend?
Yeah, there's a blend. So by the way, I do have clients that are cool with paid links. So let's say 20% of our links come from paid opportunities. So I'm definitely not against that, but it's just personally, I don't like it. I like to charm people into getting stuff. But about the outreach, we do cold outreach for every client. I think we do like 30 a day, and with some projects it takes I don't know, 400 emails to get enough links, and with other ones it just keeps on going and it takes thousands, but it's never like in the hundreds or anything like that. Absolutely not. I think what's different is that when people look at scaling and quality, so quality would be a bespoke email, right? So a very unique email that's meant for one specific person. A template is something you use for multiple people. Use the same thing. It has a little bit of personalization, like the first name or stuff like that, but that's it. But I like to go in the middle, where yes, I'm doing templates, but I'm making sure that the copy of the template is very targeted for that audience.
So not personalized.
So
there's a difference between targeted and personalized, right? So you mean target?
No, it's personalized. It's personalized, but it's not bespoke. Okay. Yeah, it's personalized and targeted, but it's not bespoke. So okay, let me give you an example. I've given this example before, but it's for a computer brand, and then they're focused on printers, right? So for graphic designers. Was it graphic designers? I don't know, but. So we looked into what are the most annoying things that graphic designers have to deal with. And it's where the client wants changes one day before the deadline or something, and I want it by next day at 12 p.m.
I'm laughing because my friend is a graphic designer, and I know his frustrations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. So, can I get a link from it? But anyway, so in a subject line, we said, I love your style, or I love your design, but so they open the email, and then it's Yeah, but can you make the font a little bit funnier? And I want to have these colors. Oh, and can you make it look more like Apple by Wednesday, 12 p.m.? Thank you. So a designer that opens the email is just like super annoyed, but he's also laughing because it's exactly one of their biggest annoyances. And then you go into the whole email where, yeah, I understand how it is. I want to help you educate your audience, which are your potential clients, right? And this is how.
Great.
So,
got ya.
so that's what I mean with targeted. You don't just do a generic email. You make it targeted for a specific audience, or you can also make it targeted around the current trend. So I also did emails themed with Squid Game or Lord of the Rings or stuff like that.
I love it. I want to just highlight something for the audience that may not have may not have heard what I heard. What I heard is that you did outreach. It's personalized. It's not bespoke. It's personalized, but targeting to that person. But what I heard was you helping and adding value to that person by asking if they would like to link to a valuable resource that they don't have to create for themselves, that they can send their traffic to from their site, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you should reverse engineer some of your content and your linkable assets. Like, okay, so a part of my audience are graphic designers, or we're focusing on them right now because they have the highest CRO or whatever. So what are their problems and how can we help them solve their problems? And not with your product, right? But yeah, it's just on social. If somebody says, oh, keto is so bad, and then you don't have the time to convince them, so you link to a case study. Then you say, yeah, but it's not bad. Look, scientist says it's not.
I love it. I love it. If there's somebody that is on a mad quest, and we're going to finish up the podcast, but I just want to ask one more question. For somebody that's on a mad quest to just get a lot of great links, they want to do it in a way that they're not doing massive outreach to get a lot of spammy links. They want to do it in a way that feels right for them ethically. What advice would you give them if they're just about to start embarking on this link building journey for their site?
Yeah, so first off, this has nothing to do with outreach necessarily, but look at your existing network. So a lot of people have business partners, suppliers, fans or whatever, and tap into them because so many people leave those links on the table, and I think it's pity. Yeah. And the other part is research what people link to a lot anyway, right? And what the problem is of the prospects and their audience. So I like to use Ahrefs Content Explorer, and I always like to use words that are not specific to a topic, but specific to some kind of need. So if you look in Content Explorer and you type in how many or how do I get or something like that, and then you start filtering it on domains, on referring domain. So you say you want to see every topic out there. No, you want to see every content piece out there that follows the question how many, that gets 500 links. And not to the homepage, and maybe they are a low DR. In this case, I would use DR. That way you can find smallish sites that are getting a lot of links purely based on the value of their content. And then you can, of course, make something similar. Or you can, if it's not relevant to your niche, you can apply it to your own niche. And that works really well. Another thing you can do with the Content Explorer is just put in an empty search.
Awesome.
Just so no words at all. And then start filtering. So I would definitely reverse engineer everything.
Yeah, and that's such a great strategy to create content for natural backlinks that people are just going to link to because they need to share that.
Yeah, and you can build links to it. It doesn't say you have to just sit back and just wait for the links to come, because it often doesn't happen. But you can build links to it, or you can maybe run some ads for it if it's like a really low CPC keyword. So for instance, if you would do a trend, let's say boba, right? So you do boba statistics 2023, you would run an ad for that, and that helps you go to position 0. with a piece like that, and then you could get some links maybe, because journalists are lazy. They're not gonna go scroll through the page.
I love it. I love it. Bibi, thank you so much for coming on. Where can we send people to check out more about what you are doing? Because it's awesome.
Thank you. So you can go to bibibuzz.com, and there's nothing on there. But you just go to the link building services page, and there you can go bits through my process.
I'll link to the link building services page. There is some content on that that's valuable for you to go through. So I'll link to that in the show note, guys. Thank you so much for coming on, Bibi. It's great to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And build some links, everyone.
Yes, exactly. Everybody that is listening, thank you for listening. If you know somebody that owns a website business, do them a massive favor and share this podcast episode with them. Yes, it helps us reach more people, Jaryd and Bibi, and we get to help more people with what we're doing, but it's helping them with free content. And link to this podcast episode. Thanks, guys. Bye. Hey, YouTube watcher, if you thought that video was good, you should check out this video here on the 2 best types of websites beginners should buy. Or check out my playlist on how I made my first 100K from buying websites and how to do due diligence. Check it out. It's an awesome playlist. You'll enjoy it.